Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Let's jump into some malicious compliance. Our first story today comes to us from Burrito Deleter. If you care so much about it, just do it yourself. Well, don't mind if I do. Let's jump right in. I'm not sure if this fits more with malicious compliance or some kind of revenge, but thought I'd post it here first. I apologize in advance for the length of this post, but I do promise that it's worth it. The cast, me, the handsome hero who is in his last semester of university, kind of friend, my sort of friend that I kind of know, who is unfortunately often lost in class. Imposter, team member who makes you think he will do work, but then does very little. Clueless, team member who never responded when we formed group messages to start the year, then forgot he was in our team until 3 days prior to project presentation. Ghost, responded once or twice, then was never seen or heard from again. Backstory: to start the semester, we were put in assigned teams for 2 group projects, then one massive final project that was nearly half our grade and was made up of a presentation and a final report, to be submitted after the presentation with edits made based on feedback. The premise of the presentation was that we research a company, identify strategic challenges, then present our recommendations. Of course, we had to include background analysis, and our recommendations couldn't just be basic ones if we wanted high grades. But when I read it, I thought, man, a 5-person team can do this easily. If only I knew the power of the jinx I unloaded on myself. To start, one team member, Clueless, never responded when I sent emails asking for phone numbers to make a group chat. Then another, Ghost, did absolutely nothing for the 2 group projects. My kind of friend and imposter, however, did participate in those with me, and in one case they actually did more of the work. I will say, however, that the project they did more work on was a 1 to 2 page paper, so it wasn't exactly a challenge. Despite Ghost and Clueless doing Ghost and Clueless things, I felt good about the final project. Imposter and Kinda Friend appeared to be competent team members, capable of doing a decent amount of work. This was great, since Kinda Friend and I were both seniors, so our motivation levels were approaching 0. Having another helping hand who was more motivated would help motivate us. The beginning of the end. I knew we were in trouble when we started working on a rough draft of the report. In my eternal wisdom, I thought making the 20-minute final presentation will be easier if we do all of the grindy work of the report first. So let's make a rough draft and then go from there. I initially didn't want to do much, but the annoyance in my soul at Ghost and Clueless powered me to work for 2 to 3 hours for a week straight on the project. I was able to finish 2/3 of our rough draft paper, leaving 1/3 for 4 other people. I also completed the most difficult parts of our paper, so I assumed that my team could easily handle the rest. At the same time, I also started our presentation. I created a theme and set out the framework for how things should be ordered to make it easier on my team. Despite my efforts, Kinda Friend suffered what I would call the being lazy disease and claimed she couldn't figure out how to do her section of the paper. Feeling generous, I wrote it for her and then created the slides for it. Imposter finally did his single section and then created his slides. The only problem, however, was that his information was completely wrong. Looked like it was written by my 3-year-old cousin and was arguing against our main argument. Feeling befuddled, I asked him to correct, well, everything. His edits sucked. I then did it myself. At this point, we were T-3 days from final presentation. Clueless finally remembers that he has work to do in a team and frantically reaches out. I graciously allow him to complete a single slide so that he feels welcomed. Ghost hasn't been heard from in weeks. The end for my team. At this point, the anger in my soul is immense. What should have been a breeze to the end of my time in university was becoming a grind that I did not care for. I'm a perfectionist, however, and I was shooting for grade honors at my school, so I would not accept less than an A in this dumb class when I had tougher classes to worry about. I also am a petty and vengeful human when I feel wronged, and I felt pretty wrong. The idea for a master plan was beginning to form, but my team could still redeem themselves. Ghost then no-showed our final presentation. My teammates all didn't remember anything from their slides, despite me trying to organize practice time and being ignored, and one even forgot the order of his 3 slides. Q frantically flicking through to find the info he wanted to talk about. I was now approaching critical mass. My team did no work despite their responsibilities being painfully easy, and they nearly botched the entire presentation that I spent hours working on. The idea of my team receiving any credit for the work I did was a thorn in my side. It finally boiled over when we were making the final report edits. Clueless was writing something just magnificently bad, not relevant, and not needed. I politely asked him to fix this, but he refused, telling me to worry about my own sections. Considering I was the only person who actually knew anything, I was pissed. When he signs off, I fix his crappy work and then move on with my life. The next day I wake up to a quite angry message, signed off with a message telling me that if you care so much about this report, then just do it all yourself. I'm done. That is when the volcanic eruption of my anger and pettiness exploded. The compliance. The compliance was actually easy, too easy. I'd already done 2/3 of the work myself, and the remaining 1/3 of the work was stupidly easy. I created a new final presentation document with my name alone and began swapping my new and improved edits to it. I also included all the graphics, charts, and tables I'd made up for our PowerPoint. Writing my team members' sections was easy, as it was simple busy work. In one day, I did it all, and I went all out. I've never grinded so hard in my life at an assignment, and that's including the grind I'd already done. The report was due 3 weeks after our presentation. I spent 1 week straight working on it, each day double checking my work and including layers and layers of citations, appendices, etc. The second week I spent reviewing and fact checking. I spent the third week drinking with my friends. When it came to submission time, I easily sent mine in when it opened. I made sure to include a note as well to my professor about how it was my report and mine alone. During this time, my team occasionally texted in the group chat, but not a single person noticed my lack of texting or messaging. When it came submission time, no one said a thing until 2 hours after the deadline. When a team member asked me if I'd submitted it, I said yes. The fallout. Several days after the due date, I received an email from my professor. He asked me to come in for a meeting. At this meeting, he grills me about my submission, my team's work, basically everything to see if I was lying. I explained the entire thing to him, as well as showing him how I'd done basically everything. The platform we used for the PowerPoint and report shows who made what edits, so it was very clear that I'd done everything. I get a bit of a lecture about how I should have come forward sooner, but he tells me that my report was the best one he's seen in years, and combined with how good I performed during the presentation, he was giving me an A. After that, he told me not to worry about the team anymore and to have a good graduation. Eventually, I found out that my entire team, barring myself, received a 0. Ghost and Clueless would have to retake the class, meaning that they were not graduating. I felt bad about Kinda Friend getting a 0, but I gave her all the chances in the world to do literally anything. It always turned into, OP, I just can't think of how to do this, can you? She also was already taking summer classes to graduate, so whatever. I got some mean messages from Ghost, Clueless, and Imposter, and I'm not sorry to say that I responded in kind. I know some of you may disagree with my actions, but I felt it was warranted and do not care. If you're ever in a team for class, always try to be nice and attempt to do some work. I wouldn't have done this if my team did the bare minimum and acknowledged the work I did, but they chose to do neither. OP, in this case, you did the work to make sure you didn't fail, and they just didn't do the work and didn't contribute throughout the whole year. It was their own fault that they came out where they did. Don't beat yourself up for it, they had it coming. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our second story today comes to us from Magic Pretend Account. Angry boss tries to pick a fight with US Army. Let's jump right in. So this all happened in the last few weeks. For reference, I'm a battalion level officer in the Army Reserve. While I was getting my master's, I took an overnight gig doing unimportant things. Mostly my coworkers are 19 to 22-year-olds in college or just out of high school. Pay was good and I could focus on my studies all night. I graduated with my master's in 2018, but job market for my field in my area was hard for a while. I had a good relationship with the owner of my company and the pay was really good. Plus, the Army has me working in my field, so I just decided to stay. Fast forward to 6 months ago, I've been here 4 years now. Every manager or supervisor has nothing but praise for me, and I've made zero mistakes that cost the company any money or time. New boss, good guy, flexible, works with people to get people's schedules they want, but over time, personal issues or something get in his head. I suspect he doesn't like struggling to schedule around my military duties, but who knows? He starts name-calling, being condescending, or ranting and raving at me for unclear reasons every time he sees me. He wants things cleaned up, but is never able to quite articulate what that means, and my attempts never satisfy him. One time, he ranted at me for sweeping wrong, another time for calling him when nobody showed up to relieve me for an hour past my shift, and the guys on the schedule said they were told they didn't need to come in. When he does manage to give a specific instruction, he'll show up the next day and rant and rave and yell that I didn't do it before he told me. Well, now my comfortable, well-paying job is no longer peaceful, and I have better things to do than listen to a man-child be angry at the world every day. So I hop on Indeed and apply for a couple jobs in my field. By now, I have the master's and 6 years experience doing it in the Army, so I land some interviews and within a few weeks get an offer for double my salary. Soon after, as I'm still working on the onboarding process for the new company, he becomes enraged that a garbage can is dirty. I crap you not, a garbage can is dirty. I listen to him rant and name call and all that fun stuff, and the next day, I roll my eyes and wash the garbage can. He responds by yelling at me some more because I didn't wash it before being told to, called me some names, then threatened to fire me. So I shrugged and wrote up my 2-week notice and handed it to him the next day. Turned out that threat was a bluff. He is now very short-staffed, and he blew up again. Yawn. The next day though, I noticed something peculiar on our work app. My time off request, filed months ago for upcoming military orders, had been denied. I laughed it off because obviously that's a misclick on his part, but nope. I come in for work again, and he very smugly informs me that I will be working through the whole next week. I have military obligations. I don't care. I denied your time off request. I have orders from the military. I can't be here. Nope, I denied it. You can't do that. Yes, I can. This is what you get for not respecting me and acting like a child. I'm denying your time off request, so figure it out. Can I have in writing that you're denying me unpaid time off for military duty? Ladies and gentlemen, if asked for something in writing, a smart man would stop and reconsider. A smart man actually would have realized well before talking to me that trying to tell an army battalion that they can't have one of their captains because a 35-year-old civilian middle manager is being petty is a really dumb idea and is in fact illegal. But my boss is not a smart man. Maybe he once was, but he is now an angry, vengeful, petty man that, at this point, believes he has won a mighty victory over his enemy. So he puts it in writing, and then walks off with a confident swagger, shouting over his shoulder, "Figure it out, if you insist." So after my shift, I wait for our main office to open, and I call the company's owner for the first time since this new boss started. Friendly chat, and then I tell him I'm calling just to warn him that his manager is trying to pick a fight with the Department of Defense, and that I wanted to call and let him know and get it resolved unofficially. Owner thanked me for calling him, assured me that I would of course have those days off, and asked me what my perceptions were of the new boss. I gave him my opinion that he was once great but has turned into the most toxic, abusive person I've ever worked for. We wished each other well and then hung up. I don't know what happened next, but I suspect the owner politely and calmly informed him that small businesses don't like their managers picking fights with the federal government. Because when my new schedule came out, I had my drill days off, and my boss avoided me after that. I'm taking a vacation after drill, and then starting my new job as an expert in my field on Memorial Day, working autonomously with clients, and he will remain there, angry, frustrated, and stressed. I figured it out, boss man. Ah yes, management is totally just yelling orders at people and micromanaging their every move. That's exactly how you motivate an employee. Check out both OPs linked in the description down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.